Hey everyone, today's video is on what you should be drinking while gaming, or basically what you should be drinking anytime, really. Not because you're a gamer that all of a sudden you have different needs, right? I mean, other than G Fuel, right? Hey guys, my name is Vitamin Action, and I stream twice a week on Twitch, Wednesdays and Fridays. But my real-time, full-time, real-life gig is a personal trainer. Mostly what I do is nutrition consultation, helping people make better choices, do better things with their time and energy to get healthier, a lot of weight loss, and some high performance sports. So that being said, I like to play video games as much as I very well can. Life, work and trying to do everything else and trying to be healthy gets in the way of video games, but video games cannot get in the way of health. I suppose they can, and they most definitely do, but what are a few things that we can do either while gaming, around gaming, before gaming, or after gaming that can reduce the impact on your health, your body, your physique, and everything else? And I'd really like to dig into like a few videos that address that. The first one is basically sort of the easiest thing, and often the first thing I recommend to people is to start hitting sort of liquid goals. So what are you drinking? I mean, it's not like you can't drink anything. It's not always just water. And it's not like you always have to drink the best things, but so there are some wiggle rooms and some sometimes zones, and that's sort of what I want to address here, because it often seems that people go either way off the deep end or don't do anything right. Like, who knew human beings had to drink water? What? Now, the biggest thing with liquids and water is you can't tell, you don't know how little you're drinking until you start drinking enough. Now, not just because you're going to be peeing every 45 seconds, or 48 if you're lucky when you do start drinking enough, but just the general energy levels, digestion, sleep quality, mood improve. And for those that are at all physically active, muscle endurance and muscle strength is definitely related to hydration levels. So let's get it started. I'd like to go through a list of the top 5 things that you should be drinking in and around gaming sessions. The first one of which is water. Who would have thought? There's rule of thumb of 8 glasses of water a day. There's no actual scientific evidence backing that up. It is a good rule of thumb. And if you're not drinking 8 glasses of water, then start working on it. Now, there is water quality. Filtered water will be better than tap water or puddle water. I don't know who drinks puddle water. Basically, just reducing the negative impacts of heavy metals such as like radon and pesticides and whatnot in water is just a generally good idea. And something cheap like a carbon filter, like a Brita filter that you can get just about anywhere, will reduce the amount of trash in the water by about 90%. In order of priority, you've got spring water, you got tap water, you have alkaline water, distilled water, then filtered water, and then the reverse osmosis water. Now, the reason all these are all fine, and we could say they're better and better, and some people vow and buy like the reverse osmosis. It really doesn't matter. The reality is that if you're not drinking enough water, things are not happening in your body. You want every cell in your body to be a giant plump grape, and if it is not, consider it a raisin. Now, if nothing else, if there's less room to work within a cell, there's less things going on in that cell. So as boring as it is, consider water. And towards the end of the video, I'll provide you a list of things that you can do maybe to enhance the flavor or whatnot for those that are a little fussy. But when in doubt, sip it. Just start picking away at it. If you don't have water around you, the trick is to have it around you. On my stream, we have a hydrate alert that goes off every 25 minutes. And every 25 minutes, if I don't see it, chat yells at me to drink, and gladly so. And I think that's the reason why I can stream for 12 hours plus and still work out and do all these different things around it and not really suffer. Next on the list are the sweetened beverages. Now, let's say sweetened by things that you can get from Sweet Baby Jesus, fruits, vegetables, and whatnot. So obviously infusing your water with fruits like slices of strawberries or mashing them up in the blender and mixing with water is definitely, or lemon water and all that stuff, have great virtues, fantastic. And obviously you'll be getting the fibers from them if you eat the fruit, and the digestion of said sugars would be much slower, and it adds some flavor. The naturally flavored waters are totally fine as well. Consider some of these brands. There's vegetable juices and artificially sweetened water, such as like sucralose and whatnot. The problem with the vegetable juices is you're not getting the fiber. It's okay, have them sometimes. Those are the sometimes drinks. But you're not getting the fiber and most of the nutrients that you really would get from the actual eating of the vegetable juice. And this is even twofold for fruit juices, where you're really just getting the sugars from the fruit and you're not getting the fiber from them. You're better off not, I'm going to say it, unless you're in the desert, you're better off not drinking juice and not drinking anything than drinking juice. For most people who are sitting around and haven't just done an hour plus, 75 minutes plus of rigorous exercise, I'm saying it here first, have a glass of water or something. Next, carbonated beverages. Now, this is obviously the thing. Everybody is down with anything bubbly. Now, it can go from soft drinks to, energy drinks to the La Croix, which everyone says tastes like TV static. There's going to be a range of what you're used to. If you're hardcore and you're only drinking water ever, then going to something like a carbonated, unsweetened, or carbonated naturally sweetened drink, it will add some bubbly into your life. Otherwise, the goal obviously is to do everything possible to avoid the full sugar sweetened beverages. We know them all, Monsters, rock stars, and all that stuff, and straight up Coca-Cola, etc. Now I'm going to get sued or something. The goal is we want to drink the waters. We don't want the nasty things from them. The full sugar sweetened beverages are basically, the main cause of many diet-related illnesses for those that are aware of how much sugar is in a typical can of soda. It's very hard to get around that when your main hobby is sitting playing video games. So, opt for the sugar-free sometimes if you have to. Now, whatever that means for you, do what you got to do, but do everything you can to avoid the full sugar sodas. I can make a video on sugar in the future if that's something you'd like to read about and learn about. And if you really want me to break down the different energy drinks and what can replace properly an energy drink with different substances and whatnot, be my pleasure to. But in the meantime, I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. Let's do what we can to avoid the ingredient called sugar and make sure that your drink has 0 calories. That's sort of the thing we're going for here. Next up, we're going to go with teas and coffees. Now, this here is the party. I get it. Some people don't like coffee. It sucks to be you. All right, it's delicious. Get out of here. It's not coffee. It's tea. And legit, tea is probably the greatest thing you could drink. Plain tea, other herbal teas and whatnot. The virtues of different kinds of tea are the thing that I think if people would, green tea alone, metabolically speaking, for the heart, for the blood sugar management, for anyone just sitting around trying not to gain weight, if you have to choose one thing to drink, green tea's the go-to for that. And I could probably do an entire video just on green tea. The way it stimulates the brain is essentially to caffeine. If caffeine is agitated, go, it's Neo from the Matrix. It's basically a clarity, a calming, which allows your brain to function better. The go-to is caffeine because usually the drinks that have it are delicious. If it's not just coffee, it's energy drinks. But if you can get over the fact that you're a human being that can choose what you consume, green tea is the way to go. Definitely. And I think I'll make a video on green tea eventually, just because I drink so much of it on stream. Delicious. Or lightly sweetened coffees and teas that have like honey and different sugar-free options. If that helps you get them down and you're replacing soft drinks with them, have at it. Let's talk about improvement and not, failure from lack of being able to make a proper decision. Go as plain as possible. Drip coffee, pour over French press, Americano, espresso, cold brew, iced coffee, instant coffee, yerba mates, matcha tea, iced tea, black tea, oolong tea, green tea, white tea, kombucha, rooibos tea, chamomile tea, and peppermint tea. Come on. It doesn't have to be boring just because there ain't no sugar in it. Enjoy yourself. Explore. Discover things you've never tried before. I'm telling you, just the fat burning effects alone from the catecholamines in green and white tea, you're doing yourself a disservice. The fifth drink that I'm going to cover are sort of the dairy and plant milks for what it's worth. It'd be really difficult not to address milk in North America because of how predominant it is in our agricultural economy. So at least let's mention what the best choices are. You're going to want things that are as close to the source as possible. And I'm not talking about going and grabbing a cow and making it your friend.
He needs some milk.
No, I'm talking about kefir or whole milk if you have access to that, depending on the laws in your region. Otherwise, trying to stay with the unflavored kinds of kefir, whole milk, and whatnot. Obviously, plant milks are a very common option. Almond milk, oat milk, coconut milk, and whatnot. If you have to be drinking something that isn't water, then those are definitely awesome options for someone who may be also lactose or cow's milk intolerant. Then we move on to the actual dairy, the plain normal milk. Depending again on your gut health, these can be kind of tricky, and the old argument that no animal drinks milk from another animal sort of thing has been overdone a little bit. I don't think that milk is necessary to drink due to the nutrients in it can be found in many other foods. But if you've got to drink the stuff closest to its natural source. So partly skimmed is less healthy than whole milk.
Milk was a bad choice.
Bonus category would be shakes. Now, this is something that seems to be sort of taboo or maybe demonized in the video game industry compared to, say, the workout industry. Maybe it's because there's jealousy or some sort of hard feeling towards people who work out. Maybe it's also just lack of education. A shake is basically anything you chuck in a blender or maybe a bottle that you mix up. Now, shakes can contain whatever the heck you want them to contain. Some people call them smoothies just because they have fruits and vegetables in them. In my opinion, that's sort of what we were talking about earlier with the fruit just infused water. But if you add a source of protein in them, so we'll call them super shakes if you'd like dairy protein, so we call that whey protein. There's also vegetable proteins that have different sources like rice or pea protein, and all these things can be mixed together with fruit and vegetables so they taste like whatever, vanilla with that. You're definitely getting what's starting to look like a snack as well, which is a whole other topic, but something that gamers suck at. 12 hours, about 2 meals a day, or eating chicken nuggets for about 12 hours. If you could curb hunger and have something that gets some liquid down, like the water or milks that you put in the shakes, then it's a 2-for-1. I think the one thing I could recommend to any gamer is that they can consume a protein-rich snack every 3-ish hours. It's got to be protein-rich because you don't need an excess amount of other energy. So if you're eating fats and carbohydrates, the delicious stuff, I know, it's not going to serve you. You're going to slow down your nervous system. You're going to slow down your metabolism. You're essentially going to get slower and slower and heavier. And it's not just about how awesome you're doing in the game, it's how awesome you're feeling outside of the game. I think everyone understands what I mean. So assuming you're not a professional bodybuilder or athlete, you probably just want to feel better, look better, and perform better in and out of video games. And you're going to want to drink some things that don't necessarily fit with anything I just said. That's fine. Just take a moment to ask yourself what the thing is going to do for you. Is it going to make your body perform or feel better or recover better? Or is it going to make your body feel worse? Then ask, how processed is it? Does it have added sugar or refined or processed ingredients? And take a moment to ask yourself how you feel mentally or physically when you drink these things, during or after, or just how you feel about drinking some things. Addictions to all kinds of things are real, and if you perpetuate them, something you drink, it could be something that you can consider working on. So find a balance that works for you. Just make sure you've got something on hand at any given moment, and I promise you'll find your energy levels and your endurance and cognitive ability while your gaming will improve. Cheers.